Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 5 of the PSGL F4 Championship here in season 27 on the PS4 console. We are in Monaco for the famous streets around the circuit in Monte Carlo here, and on this sunny day in the F1 game in qualifying, I am once again joined by Jake. Hello and welcome.
Hello, yeah, great to be here. And yeah, this is always one of those races that people notice straight away when it's on the calendar. And I'm excited to see what this race brings. I feel like we're going to get a lot of unpredictability and maybe a surprise result here.
Yeah, and probably the most exciting qualifying session of the entire season then, because quali is just so important on this track. In real life more than in league racing, because in league racing there tends to be a lot more chaos than in real life, but still, especially for the start, you would not want to be in any traffic, and you'd rather keep your front wing than lose it on the opening lap. But yeah, you can see many cars going out on track already. So what do you think? Will we see our pole man winning the race in the end? Do you think qualifying is as crucial as it is in real life, or do you expect some chaos today?
I think if it's a dry race, I think the pole sitter is definitely the big odds-on favourite, but so many things can happen around here. You have to keep your wits about you for a very long race, especially if you get a few safety cars, which is very, very likely, it has to be said. Especially in this league tonight, because we've got 19 drivers at the moment and we should have a 20th joining midway through this session, so a full grid around Monaco, that's going to make things, I think, very interesting, and it makes you really don't want to be in the latter half of that grid because it's going to make your race really tricky.
Yeah, and especially traffic in quali is going to be a crucial thing to watch out for, and in the race, obviously traffic, people who haven't pitted yet could get in the way of other drivers just because overtaking is so difficult around this track. And we can see McCrew is already risking it quite a lot, and he's paid the price for it already, and he's hit off his front wing coming into the customer square. Oh, and yeah, that's Dan, aka Spreen. He's changed his game attack.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was just me, but he may have been lagging slightly. There was a few issues about his internet coming into this, so hopefully that improves as it goes on. But yeah, not the ideal start, and already Monaco catching out a few drivers. From what I noticed in qualifying yesterday in F7, it did take the drivers a little while to get up to speed. There was quite a difference between the lap times, certainly in the opening stages. So I expect more of the same here. Some drivers will need a few more runs to get up to speed, whereas others will hit the ground running pretty quickly.
Yeah, we are on board with Simply Rush, who's taking a lot of risk here, coming through the swimming pool chicane. And he's slightly hit the wall on the outside. That was close to the inside out of Raskas. And across the line he comes to set the first lap time today. And he sets a 19.2. But he is immediately being beaten by Boyrod and Thyman and Jan as well. And there goes Kazizel up into P2 as well. So we can see the first couple of times, but the question is, do you now actually go for a safe bank around here, or do you just want to put your fastest lap in as soon as you can? Because obviously traffic and crashes could ruin your lap. When you're on a quick one and suddenly someone's spun round in the last sector, the game might just not ghost the other car, and then you're running into him. And yeah, that's what we might have seen there with Kryptonite as he picks up a 5-place grid penalty.
That's good. That's not what you want, really isn't what you want at all, so that's going to be a big blow for him. I saw him actually very handily get out of the way of Nino coming into Raskas. That was a really good bit of getting out of the way, but sounds like he might have got caught out a little bit later on in the lap. And a couple of things to mention actually, but they're quite important here. We have got a couple of drivers that are going to have time penalties added onto their race time. We've got Luke, who's currently second in the championship, who's going to have 10 seconds added on. And Kazizel, who's currently P2 on the grid, will have 5 seconds added on. So that's another thing as well, especially if we get a late safety car. Those penalties could really impact on Luke and Kazizel's finishing positions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially if you want to, if you get a safety car later on in the race, and we already talked about the high chance of a safety car around the circuit, that could really spice up the results in the end, and the order could be completely different. I mean, we saw time penalties changed the race result yesterday as well a little bit, especially at the front end. Or let's say midfield, because we only had 10 finishes, so P5 wasn't even the front end really. But yeah, that made a big difference as Boss Wanted goes into the top 10 and into P7, and yeah, that could be quite crucial towards the end.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt about it. I think that really, obviously grid position's everything, but there's so many things that can happen throughout the course of a race. And so, I mean, certainly we saw in the wet a lot of drivers picked up damage at various points. It probably won't be too bad in the dry, but even so, I still think we'll have a few drivers that are going to pick up damage throughout the race, and it's really going to shake the field up. And if you are in the lead and you've got someone slow behind you, it can really just allow you to pull away. So that's another thing to bear in mind as well. Feynman at the moment, I have to say, has really come out of the blocks flying, and I was going to say he was super impressive last week, and he looks to be continuing that on today. He's not got a full-time seat in F4 yet, but as a reserve, he's looking very promising indeed, and that lap time's already going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, but would you actually say that it's easier to keep your front wing in the dry than it is in the wet around here? Because I feel like it's the other way around. As an F7 driver, I felt like if it would have been dry yesterday, I would have picked up a lot more front wing damage, just because you're going at such higher speeds as McCrew invalidates his lap. And yeah, that is not a good start to the session for him. First he crashes, and then he invalidates, and that was quite a tank slapper for Cohen there, coming towards the lowest hairpin. That was quite a drift. Looked quite nice, but probably didn't help his lap time, and he goes down into 0 ERS mode, so he has abandoned his lap, but Dan behind hasn't. And I would actually say, because of the lower speeds you've got in the wet, that it's easier to keep your front wing.
I think it's both easier and more difficult. Like you said, the higher speeds that you have to go at do mean that basically you are taking a lot more liberties with the barriers, which definitely can increase front wing damage. But at the same time, it's not. You've got a lot more grip in the dry, so I suppose it's neither here nor there really. It could be conceded one way or the other, but I think the difficulty certainly yesterday in F7 was the difference in conditions from qualifying into race, meant that I think a lot of drivers struggled to get the setup of their car right, and that's the thing. I think if you do want the conditions you would want, I would say, are either dry and dry or wet and wet. You don't want it to cross over, because then ultimately it makes the setup of the car almost a compromise between wet and dry.
I gotta say, that looked brilliant, watching Dan flying through the last sector, especially because that last sector is just so quick, and you can really throw the car around, as we see from Diamond here, who invalidates. But have you actually mentioned that Kazizel retired? Because I didn't really notice, but out of the Casino Square, it looks like he crashed. So he'll start a maximum of P2 in this race. But I'm not sure if he could have actually challenged for pole position.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that one. I didn't actually see him retire, so I'm wondering, I'm guessing he must have crashed out somewhere. As I'm just on board with Dan, who's getting that nicely out of the way at the Nouvelle Chicane. But yeah, at least he's got a lap time in. I suppose that's one positive from his point of view. The last thing you want is to retire when you haven't got a good lap time in, as Cohen goes up to 5th. But yeah, he's going to struggle to keep P2, I think, with that time. I suspect a few drivers will jump ahead of him. So, nevertheless, though, that's not too bad. And he should at least, I reckon, probably stay inside the top 10 at least, which is damage limitation considering he's crashed out.
Yeah, I gotta say, oh, that's a Williams in the wall right before the end of the lap. I gotta say, shout-outs to Boyrod for his helmet. That looks brilliant, because it just looks exactly like Sebastian Vettel's helmet. Just simply white, then black, red and yellow flag. Or stripes, I should rather say, forming the German flag, if I saw correctly there. Yes, he has. That looks beautiful. Just wanted to note that real quick. So it doesn't look at the ERS amount of simply. That is not quite a lot, as Boyrod crashed. simply is on 3% ERS as he comes up the tunnel.
Yeah, it's not that's not ideal for him, I have to say, and I think that's who Boyrod was getting out of the way for, of an interesting way of doing so, bashing your car into the wall. Yeah, great work with a helmet. I'm guessing he's a Sebastian Vettel fan, at a guess. But to be fair to both him and Feynman, relative newcomers to F4, they've really got to grips with the league very quickly. They look exceptionally quick drivers, and they've been towards the sharp end both here and last week at France. And of course, we know France and Monaco are two very different tracks, so it suggests that they could be front runners throughout the rest of the season, really.
Yeah, I mean, their pace looks very promising right now, especially Thyman. Half a second up on P2, and that looks a bit deep from Fairham Racer there. Coming into the Nouveau chicane now into Tabak as he hits the ball on the outside, and that looks like it has damaged his front wing quite a bit. Yeah, as he nearly understeers into the wall once again, coming into Raskas now, and then through turn 19 here. Yeah, he's got quite a lot of understeer. Can he still make the lap count somehow? Doesn't look too promising, and he goes across the line, goes 6/10 faster, but doesn't improve in terms of position. But he goes for another lap straight away, so alright. Or is he just rushing back to the pits? Not sure.
A bit of news on Kazizel. He's confirmed that he did indeed crash. He turned in too early, and he's very disappointed with that because he reckoned his quali pace was pretty decent. So it's really unfortunate for him there. He's still in second at the moment, but I suspect there's going to be a lot of good laps coming in. It looks like McCrew is one of those drivers who's on a relatively decent lap, and he needs it because he's yet to put in any time.
Yeah, McCrew now coming around the final two corners. Turn 19 is really tricky because it's very easy to turn in a bit too early and then hit the wall on the inside, but he goes fourth fastest. That's quite an improvement after not being able to set a lap after his first two shots at it. And now he just straight away goes up into P4, so that's really good stuff from the Haas driver there.
Yeah, and we got VRT Luke coming around the final corner. He's been knocked down to fifth thanks to McCrew, but I think he's about to take that place back, and yes, indeed, he goes back up to fourth. So nice lap there from the Alfa Romeo. Oh no, that's bad news for the current pole position sitter. He's got a great lap in, but wow, that shows he's not exactly invincible around this Monaco circuit, and while pushing for that bit of extra time, he stays on pole.
That was out of the Nova chicane, so he might have hit the wall on the inside on the exit. It's very easy to clip there, and then just spin round, and then he might have gone into the opposite wall then.
So that's currently our front row of our grid is currently not going to do anything else in qualifying, so for everyone outside the top two, it's up to them to try and take the front row positions off them, because there's nothing they can do in return now. Those are the lap times they're stuck with, and they got to hope that's enough. The good thing for Feynman is he's still half a second clear at the front, so that first lap was pretty incredible.
Yeah, and oh, that is a big one for Cohen, and that's exactly what I was just talking about. Clipping the inside wall, then out of the Nouveau chicane, and he hits off his left rear tyre and retires from this quali session. So Cohen also has retired. So inside the top six, half of the drivers are out of quali. Now out inside the top eight as Jan and Max roll the top half, join the top half of the grid then. And there was another one which was Simply
goes fifth. Yeah, nice, some laps coming in there from some drivers further down. I'm wondering what the Williams pair are going to do. Super Mario is on a lap, but he's not really going especially quickly, so yeah, he's obviously backed out of that one. But Cohen already down to 9, so he's probably not looking like he's going to be in top 10 here. But a lot of drivers now in the pits, so getting ready for those final runs. And of course, with this being such a short lap, just 2 miles this track is, I think there could be some issues with traffic in these final runs, and it's going to be really key to try and find yourself that little bit of space to do your lapping.
Gotta say, 17.7 is quite a solid banker. Ooh, as Super Mario turned in a bit too early there into the second corner there of the Casino Square, and nearly hit the wall on the inside. Had to open up the steering wheel, which definitely cost him some time. doesn't use all the track grip here out of the lows hairpin in, and slightly clips the wall on the inside, and then he spins around, and that is his lap gone once again. So it seems like he's struggling with maybe a bit too much grip actually, because most of the time he just clipped the inside of the wall instead of the outside by understeering.
Yeah, perhaps misjudging how much grip he's got, maybe thinking he's not got as much grip as he actually really has and turning in too early. But yeah, it's a weird qualifying session this, because we've had great laps come in from the top two and then they've crashed out. But and I hate to say this because usually I'm the one whose job it is to do the commentator's curse, but ever since you mentioned that you expect to see more damage with it being in dry conditions, that seems to be where the crashes have started.
Well, yeah, that's that. But I feel like it is that way just because you've got a lot higher speeds, you can take a lot more risk because you feel like you're more in control of the car, but then it's just going as maybe 10 centimeters too wide, you're just hitting your front wing off. And by the way, big thank you. We've got 24 viewers right now, which is quite good, especially for quali and F4. So very solid amount of viewers at the moment. And Kieran in the chat just says, and Diamond is insane here, and he's got the TT world record, it looks like. So no wonder he's up there by half a second.
Although I know that there's two different firemen, so I noticed that on Twitter of last week, so I don't know which fireman it is who's got the world record. It might be the other one.
Yeah, well, he's still quick though. He's still quick around here though. At least.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind borrowing some of his pace.
Me neither. I mean, that will make my F7 championship a bit easier. But yeah, that. He's probably not going to help me in F7, so he's just fighting for himself, and he's about to take pole, even though he's not done a single lap apart from the first one he's done. But Dan comes across the line, is not able to improve his position by much, goes into E9 then. And
yeah, it goes in 9. A few positions gained. Kryptonite's currently around the final corner. He's currently just outside the top 10 as well. He's going to improve a bit more and goes up to 6th. So as I suspected, Cohen has dropped outside the top 10, and this is really now the rushing part of qualifying. Laps are going to come flying in quickly and fast as Boss Wanted goes 7th. And Luke goes 2nd.
Oh, not far off from Diamond. So he came close. What can Boyrod do? Boyrod currently sitting in 4th, but probably with the best chances of getting that pole position out of everyone who's still in this session and has not crashed out or retired manually. And we are going on board with him now as he comes into the Nouvelle chicane, slightly locks up the inside front, but that looked nice and tidy with his Sebastian Vettel helmet. Will he do a Sebastian Vettel performance like Vettel did in his good old Red Bull days? Monaco was never his best track, but maybe it's a good track for Boyrod here as he comes through Rascas now. Oh, that's a bit wide. That might have cost him that time he needed to get that pole position. Slightly goes wide out of the last corner as well, but he comes across the line. Where will he go? Can he go into second? No, he can't. He beats Cazizzel, but not Luke, and he will start from 3rd. And I think that mistake he made coming into Rascas there might have cost him P2 and a front row start. There goes Simply, then he doesn't improve on his time. Max goes for P4.
Nice lap from Max, unexpected. What's Ryan up to? He's coming around the last few corners now, just coming through Anthony Nose and to the line. He's currently only 14 bar championship leader. Ryan goes 4th, but Jan goes up to 4th at the last. So great lap from Jan there, and I think that's pretty much everybody has crossed the line. Yeah, Loic's not on a lap. Loic's only down in 19th. I've got to say, that's a little bit surprising, but great lap at the end there from Jan to grab P4. Cazizzel doesn't hold on to the front row and drops all the way down to 6th. But I have to say, it didn't matter that Fireman crashed out several minutes ago, because that lap he did was more than good enough for pole. Fantastic effort.
Yeah, I think if he gets away well from the start out of his grid slot, then he is the main man to take the win today, but we'll have to wait and see for that. So I reckon he will have pretty strong pace around here, if I'm honest. So let's see what he can do in the race, but I think if he stays in the lead after that one, he will win this race because his pace looks absolutely dominant. I mean, taking pole by 2 tenths with just a single lap done right at the start of the session. That is impressive, and now we are reminded that Krypton has got a 5-place grid penalty due to the game, due to a crash with another driver, and he will start from 14, so that promotes Boss Wanted into the top 10 and with a free tyre choice. But in the end, it is Thyman taking pole position, even though considering he crashed out very early on in the session, ahead of Luke then, and Boyrod. So it's a Dutch 1, 2, 3 in quali, and we've got Jan in 4th, and I can't remember the rest if I'm honest. I think Max was 5th.
Yeah, Max was always consistently getting in the top 10 for our qualifying session, so looks to have decent pace. In terms of surprises on that grid, I mean, I have to say, I know Fireman's very, very quick, but that's still a great effort to do, just do that one lap and get pole. I have to say, seeing Max up in 5th place, I thought that was a good effort from him. We've got, obviously, Jan as well, up in 4th. That was a great effort at the end, and maybe a little bit surprising. Cohen outside the top 10, that's probably mostly down to that crash he had, which stopped him from being able to do another lap. But that's a little bit surprised. I thought Cohen would probably be inside the top 10, but it's so close in this field. You never really know what you're going to get. And of course, I'm not too certain which drivers use a wheel and which drivers use a pad. And around this track, that makes a big difference.
And in the chat, it has been confirmed that it is that Thyman in here which has got the world record, because the other one is in CRG. So it looks like he actually has got the world record in TT around Monaco, and I'm being quite distracted by that sign on the top left, because that's the main thing I see right here, the non-smoking sign, and in the pit lane you're not allowed to smoke, and that's the only thing I've noticed from here, and I've just pressed the wrong button and I have a weird camera angle. Now I've got the right one. Alright, so let's take a look at the tyres then. Interesting, only 2 people outside the top 10 decided to start on the soft tyres, which are Kryptonite, who has to start on the soft tyres because he qualified inside the top 10, and Super Mario. So only Super Mario, who's had a free tyre choice, decided to start on the softs. Just Call Me Bread decided to start on the hards, also an interesting choice, and everyone else who has had a free tyre choice will start on the medium compound of tyres.
I mean, I've got to be honest, I would say the medium tyre is the one to start on if you're outside the top 10. I mean, the hard tyres, they last all day around here, but they are also very slow. So I don't really... Maybe that strategy will work out for him, but I just don't see that as being the right tyre to start on. Equally, Super Mario, starting all the way at the back. Yeah, sure, he's going to have the quickest tyre, but starting 20th, is he really going to be able to go anywhere with it?
Yeah, we have to remember overtaking is very difficult, and I just saw on the game that it was suggested that the 2 strategies are either soft hard or soft medium, but I doubt soft medium will actually work out that well, because it said you're going to take the mediums till the end from lap 11 onwards, and that is quite opportunistic, I call it.
Well, from estimates I've got, mediums last around 29 laps, but that is in literally down to the canvas. And of course, they've done the qualifying lap on the softs versus in the top 10, so it's going to be touch and go. I think if you did do a soft to medium, you would have to have some very good tyre conservation on those mediums to get them to the end. Some safety cars though, and that might help you out just a little bit.
Super Mario is the final car to line up on his grid slot, I'm sorry. And we are waiting for the lights to come on. They are coming on for us now, but I doubt they are actually going out for the drivers. So we have to wait until the drivers go. And I think they're about to go. And now we are off here in Monaco for round 5. It seems to be a good start from Thyman. Can he keep P1? But he's had a step of oversteer, and that sent him down into 4th place. He's ghosted through some drivers. That might have been some lag. And it's Luke taking the lead here on lap 1. After Saint-Devant, and it looks like Maxro has taken 2nd, and Boyrod is down into 3rd, or he's kept his position, I should rather say, and Thyman is down into 4th. Now he's up to 3rd. Great move down the inside then, and there's a lot of action going on in the background as well. We can see Boss Wanted just made a move on Cohen, which is brilliant, and now there's an absolute car park, front wings everywhere and bits of debris everywhere. coming into the low hairpin. That was obvious. That was basically inevitable. And we can see Fairhunt just gain another spot on Kush, who is ghosting through the other car, and it looks like he has lost a spot. Yes, he has. And Super Mario has not gained a single spot, but we can see Gabri's got quite a lot of front wing damage, and he gives the Renault a big squeeze coming down into the Nova chicane. Can he keep the spot considering he's got massive amounts of front wing damage? Yes, he can. And into Tabak, he's in the lead ahead of Kryptonite, not in the lead, sorry, but he's leading that pack after P12, and he's forming a big train.
Poirod's got damage on his front wing and has had to pit, and it's allowed the top three to absolutely leg it down the road, as you can see by the gaps already.
So we can look at the gaps. My God, and there are 5 people in the pit lane. So yeah, Monaco's already taken some victims here, and I expect a bit of damage limitation out from Feynman after his. I don't know if it was a bad start, but it looked like a bit of oversteer that came in the second phase of the acceleration of the start, and that allowed the other cars to go through, and Luke currently in the lead.
And the biggest name that finds himself in the pits on that one is our championship leader, Ryan. He's one of us who's picked up damage, and well, he's got a pretty healthy championship lead at the moment, but that could be severely cut, especially considering the current leader is his nearest challenger, Luke.
Boss wanted on the medium tyre up into P7, so good stuff from him. Let's take the position changes. So yeah, Maxwell with a brilliant start from 5th up to 2nd, Simply also with a good start from 7th up into 4th, and Cohen has made the best start out of everyone in the top 10, and he's gained 5 spots, and now there's McCrew in the pits. So yeah, now also Kryptonite has gained 5 spots, so he's back in the position he should have started in without that grip penalty he got in quali. So a lot of people having some good starts, and a lot of people having nightmare starts, who have all had to pit on the first lap or the second lap.
I find it utterly bizarre, really, the start of that race there, because you think about it, it's probably the shortest run down to turn 1 that we've got anywhere. But yeah, it seemed like there were so many drivers getting very different starts off the line, and it caused a real mix-up in the grid. So that is bizarre. You wouldn't expect to see that around Monaco, because essentially it's such a short run down to turn 1. You wouldn't expect to see many changes in position, but it was a bit all over the place at the start there, and Feynman now finds himself behind Max while Luke tries to scarp a clear.
Feynman is very close to the rear of Maxwell, but it's going to be difficult for him to pass then, with yeah, Monaco being so narrow and the barriers being so close to the car, and that was a bit deep. Did he hit a strong wing on the outside of Sunderbit there? I'm not sure. Super Mario's in the pits as well, so it looks like he has picked up some damage, but I think Feynman managed to avoid the wall on the outside there, and Feynman now has to find a way around that house ahead of him. Otherwise, Luke is going to pull off into the distance, as he's already pulled a 1.1 second gap, which has now gone up to 1.3.
Yeah, Luke's doing a solid job. Max really hooked it off a start. Started 5th, but you could see by turn 1 he was already up into 2nd, so he absolutely nailed that start. And it's put him in a really strong position, and Feynman, like I say, it's really tough to make overtake stick around here, as we know, but he might have to try and find some way past the Haas, otherwise he's going to find it tough. The only positive for him at the moment is he's under no prep from behind, and although he's probably quicker than Max, it's not like Max is slow, he's just maybe not quite on Feynman's pace, so it's not too bad for Feynman at the moment. And although Luke is slowly pulling away, it's not by an amount that would be concerning Feynman at this stage.
I can remember, I think it was in 2018 when Max Verstappen had to start from at the back of the grid, and in the end he finished, I think, 8th or 9th, and that says something in a Red Bull. And in 2018 the Red Bull was really strong, and Max Verstappen is, as we all know, not a bad overtaker, and yeah, that was a brilliant race from him, making so many overtakes. And if he only goes up into 8th or 9th in the end, that really says something about the difficulty of overtaking around this track, as we've got yellow flags, and it looks like Dan is crashed.
He's spun round at Raskas, and he'll be back in the pits again, and that's That's unfortunate for him. He's only had the softs on for 2 laps as well, so he really hasn't made the most of those. And he's now retired from the race as well, so that's our first retirement this evening, and it's Dan, unfortunately. And I'd be shocked if that remains the only retirement to the end. There's a long way to go yet.
Yeah, and the biggest gap we've got on track right now is in between P13 and 14. That's Boyrod, who had to pit as well. So he's currently around 14 seconds behind Loic. And there's now the retired car coming out of the pit. And the thing is, he is close. Diamond is really close to the rear end of Max, but he's used a lot of VRS. Max has got loads of VRS left, and it's just so difficult to find your way around someone around these narrow streets of Monaco. But even if you're quicker, and I'm pretty sure Diamond is quicker, you just gotta wait for a mistake from the car ahead, and that was I think some contact in between 2 drivers, or someone has just slightly hit the wall, because Boss Wanted lost a place here, I think. Or at least it looked like he lost a place, then slightly hit the wall on the outside here. But yeah, not an easy task for Diamond now to get back up the order. Currently back up the order, he's still in P3, but he's not going to be happy with that. Cohen picks up the first penalty of the day then, and yeah, it's not looking all too easy for him at the moment.
And Max has got a penalty as well.
Kazisla is dropping down, and Diamond is pitting. Kazisla is dropping down. I don't know what happened to Kazisla. I think he's got major from.
He's got major damage on the right hand side. He's going to be straight into the pits with that. So maybe some contact with the wall. If I had to guess, maybe the exit of a chicane.
And Diamond lost some time. Did Diamond change his front wing?
Let's have a look.
I'm not sure.
Difficult. Oh, I'm going to try and have a look at his pit stop time to find out for you. Yep, Feynman did have a front wing change.
And Max just picked up a pen. Can you see that now, like the pit stop time?
Yeah, it was 8.3 seconds Feynman stop, and he had a front wing change. So yeah, he must have picked up some damage somewhere. We didn't see where it happened, but it's a big blow for Feynman. But look at this already. We're only on lap 7, and already half the cars have pitted for new front wings.
That's typical Monaco, isn't it? And currently, yeah, he's pitted onto medium, so he's not even planning on trying to extend that hard tyre stint till the end. So you probably expect the drivers up ahead.
Luke
to make
pits.
some mistakes as well. Luke, let's see if he changes front wing, or if he just reacts to what Diamond did. I don't think he changes.
So does Simply. So does Simply.
No, he doesn't change, and he goes on to mediums as well. So it looks like it's going to be a 2-stop for most of those guys, and definitely for Luke and Diamond here. But I tell you what, if Max is able to pull that soft tyres stint just that little bit longer, he might be able to do the 1-stop and try something different to maybe even win this race.
And we're Simply pitting. Simply's jumped Feynman due to Feynman's front wing change. So that's another problem there. Feynman got yellow flag in sector 3.
Yeah, that's Kazizla's
that's Kazizla's retired. So he was doing so well at the start, but that front wing damage cost him, and he's decided to call it a day there. As we see, is that a battle for P2? Oh, it looks like Boss Wanted was looking like to shape up a move on Jan, but he backed out of it, the Nouvelle chicane. But it looks to me like Boss Wanted is looking to make a move here. He's looking a lot quicker at this point of the race. Of course, we are getting to that point now where the soft tyres will be starting to go off.
Yeah,
and Max pits.
It looks like the mediums are actually going to the end. At least David has set that in the chat. The mediums can go to the end from here on in. As yeah, might be the 1-stop winner. That's what I expected at the start of the race, but I didn't think the mediums would actually go that long.
It'll be a lot of tyre conserving, but it should be alright. As Max comes out in front of Simply, that's crucial for him. And even worse for Feynman, he's got Just Call Me Bread in between him and Simply. So he's going to try and make a move through Mirabeau. Is he going to maybe have a better exit into Mirabeau, actually? He is down the inside, he goes. And that was a very nicely done move, and a move he needed to make. because there's no doubt about it, he's quicker at this stage. He's just done the fastest lap of the race too. So Feynman on the charge, and a nicely worked move there from Mirabeau, and his next target will be to try and get after Simply.
Yeah, brilliant move there, full commitment, and that's what you need in Monaco to actually make overtakes work. And just simply down the inside as Simon picks up his first penalty of the day. Kieran, welcome in the chat. And oh, that was a bit of front wing flying. I think that was Simply, and that might play into Simon's hands here if Simply now pits. And yeah, that looks like quite a lot of damage. And Lucas just lost the position and then regained it. Okay, I think that was just because of the pit stop. And yes, Simply goes into the pits, so there is no car between Max and Simon anymore.
And Kush is also in the pits and has had a front wing change. And because he started on the mediums, he's gone for the hards. No real choice there. If he'd have gone to softs, he would have had to stop. So Kush having to pit earlier than he would have liked to because of front wing damage, and he rejoins the race as well. And so many drivers already been caught out by the Monaco walls, and right now it could potentially be about to be an overtake for the lead. And once again, Boss Wanter's really close into the Nouvelle Chicane, but again just not quite willing to make the overtake just yet. And Jan holds on to the lead, but he's the last one who started on the softs who's still out there. So I suspect it shouldn't be too long as he's in the pits.
It's very difficult to keep up with everything that is going on at the minute because there have been so many front wing changes as well. And Jan is diving into the pit lane now, and now it's Cohen ahead. It's Boss Wanted ahead of Cohen. And Kieran asked if I remember him from the 5 last season. I think I can. I think I remember having someone called Kieran in there, but I gotta be honest, mate. I gotta get used to so many new names in every single season I'm in that it's pretty difficult to.
An overtake into Massenet for Luke on Ferhan. Oh, sorry to cut you off there. That was nearly a massive moment between Luke and Ferhan. He's really wanting to get past this McLaren, but he put his car in a real dangerous place there. There was a bit of contact, but they both got away with it. And he again taps him into the lowest hairpin.
He's basically pushing him.
He's got so much more pace. He's pushing Ferhan round the corners almost now. He knows that he needs to get this move done, and surely he's using overtake through the tunnel. Surely he's going to get it done into the Nouvelle Chicane. I don't think Ferhan will fight it too much. They're running very different races. And Luke's through, and if he's managed to get away from that...
Oh, and in the background, look at that! That was Max spinning round!
Oh no, Max at the Nouvelle Chicane, he's gone, and he's got major damage, I think. Has he got away with that
No, I think he just did a clean 360 there, clipping the inside wall. That's the typical mistake you make coming into the Nouvelle Chicane, just turning in slightly too early, clipping the wall on the inside with your rear tyre, and then just spinning the car around with a 360. And yeah, Thyman says thank you very much and regained that spot after he lost it at the start, and now he's the one trying to get Loic.
I'm absolutely amazed how he's managed to get away without damage there. He's got lucky in a sense there, but again, that's just another thing that's fallen into Feynman's hands. At the rate Feynman's luck's going, Loic's going to go into the wall in a few seconds because he's now stuck behind Loic. And he's going to have another move that he kind of needs to make. But I think this could be a bit of a trickier move for him. Because unless Loic makes an error, there's not really too many positions where he could make an overtake. He's using overtake in the tunnel, though. Is he going to ever go into the Nouvelle Chicane? He's not close enough. He did tap the back of Loic slightly there.
That's usually the thing you do one lap before you try and make an overtake at that spot. Just try and see how late you can brake and still make the corner, and see how early in comparison to yourself the car ahead brakes, just to see where and how close you need to be at that point of the track. And I think he might go for an overtake on this lap then.
I mean, it's difficult to know exactly where everyone is right now, but it'd be safe to say that Luke's probably provisional leader, with Feynman in second and Max in third. Obviously, some of the guys near the front have started on mediums and are still yet to pit. And Luke is quickly gaining on the top two, and obviously pulling away from Ferhan. So Luke looking good in terms of pace, but he was playing down with his front wing against that McLaren for a few minutes there.
Now Feynman has got another chance of overtaking maybe. once again out of the tunnel. That looks like a good exit, and he is very close, and that should be the move then against Loic here, against the man from Luxembourg, and he's very close. He's going to the inside, into the Nova chicane, slight contact, but that is inevitable, and that's got to be close. But on the inside, Loic has done a brilliant job to defend that, and that was brilliantly held from the Red Bull driver against such a quick man out on track here. And Simon tried it, but that was some brilliant defending from the Red Bull.
That's a big credit to both of them there. They did incredible to give each other the space around such a tight corner right like that. That's incredible from both of them. And fair play to Loic. He's determined to hold on to this position. He's not just going to give it to Feynman. And yeah, brilliant for the pair of them. And I don't think Feynman's done yet. Is he going to have a go into Massenet? No, once again, Loic just does enough to stop him. And the problem for Feynman now is Max is right there with him as well.
Oh, there's a late move down the inside. And he locks up the inside front, and that's going to be close. And now Loic gives up the position, but does he actually...
Oh, that was the lowest hairpin. He was going to come back at him, and there was a bit of contact, but thankfully Feynman and Loic could get through it just about unscathed.
And now look
at fair play to
Max
Loic.
Tries to get past as well around the outside. He's got the outside line, and this time it's a lot easier. Loic just breaks earlier, lets him go through, and yeah, well, there was contact, and now Max Weaves saying thank you very much to Loic. There was contact, but let's be honest, in Monaco, contact is definitely acceptable.
Absolutely, they were racing each other fair but hard, and it was really good to see. And Loic now pits. I hope he hasn't picked up any damage from that, but it wouldn't be too surprising if he had.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah,
must have
so
been
change
slight because it wasn't visible. But
yeah, he goes on to hards and knows he'll easily make the end. Probably make another Monaco race if he wanted to. But yeah, he'll be absolutely fine now to the end. But it must be frustrating for Feynman. He had to fight so hard to get past Loic, and then he just sees Max get past him the first corner he tries.
Yeah, that was probably Feynman wouldn't be too happy with that. You know, that's always how it is. You are fighting the driver so hard, you're trying so hard to get past, and you finally do it, and then the car behind just slips through on the next lap. And Luke picks up his first pen now as well, so it seems like many drivers are struggling with pens here, especially if they don't know about chicane. As Feynman looks like he's made a move on Fairhun, and yes he has, and he's passed. I'm very sorry I didn't catch that move on camera, but yeah, looks like it has been quite a clean move because he was already passed as they exited that chicane.
There we go. I was about to say, surely Alfa Romeo are going to do a swap here, and that's exactly what we've done. Cohen going to the left-hand side as soon as he got out the final corner to let Luke through. And yeah, I was on board with Luke when he got that penalty. Actually, it's through the Nouvelle chicane where he picked up the penalty. Wasn't much of a cut, but obviously enough to give him the third warning and get his first penalty. But yeah, sensible move out.
Look at Max, sorry to interrupt you, but there he goes down the inside into the casino square. He gives him a tight squeeze on the outside, and Fairhun gives him a tight squeeze. And then Max has to jump on the brakes and not hit the wall. Quite aggressive from both drivers, but I'd say it's still within the limits of fair racing, what those guys have done right there. And obviously Max wants to get past, and obviously Fairhun does not want to let him go.
No, absolutely not. There might be potentially different races, but it still could work out for Fairhun later on if he can hold Max off now. But surely into the Nouvelle chicane, Max later on the brakes, and yeah, this time there's nothing Fairhun can do. Max makes another. That was a really lovely move actually into the Nouvelle chicane, and Max up to 5th place. And Fairhun tried to fight for as long as he could, but on the much older tyres, there was only so much defending he could do in the end. And I have to say, Max is, other than that 360 he did it at the chicane a few laps ago, he's driving a very solid race so far.
Yeah, it looks like, and I just read from Kieran. Kieran was actually Alp Scholz from F5 last season. I remember that name. Brett just overtook Loic around the outside of Raskas, and I didn't catch it. Very sorry, but there's so much action going on at the top of the field that we're missing some action at the back of the field. But I think, yeah, if there are moves up the field, up the grid, I'd rather show those than at the back of the grid. No offense to those drivers at the back of the grid. I'd be absolutely dead last around here. But obviously the fight for the higher positions is most of the time a bit more interesting because it's just there are a lot more points up for grabs as Boss Wanted picks up a penalty as he's trying to stay ahead of Luke as long as he can, and he's trying to keep that gap as big as he can, but that fight or that try or that running away is going to come to an end within the next couple of laps, I reckon, as the gap has already gone down to 5/10 because Luke is just flying today and he's doing a brilliant race. Even though Diamond might have the better overall pace around here, it's still pretty impressive what Luke is doing, and he's been in the net lead from lap 1 onwards.
A quick question to you actually, because obviously Luke's got a 10-second time penalty that will be added on to the end of his race time. If you were in his position, obviously he is winning at the moment by a few seconds, obviously once everyone pits. Would you be thinking about a 10-second penalty, or is it just a case of winning and see where you end up at the end?
I think, let's hang on a minute, I thought he might go down the inside here. I think I would just do my race and then see where I end up in the end. Just push all the way and then see where I end up. Just full on pace, not worry about it all too much because you can't change it anyway. And I definitely would never give up a position just because of a post-race penalty I'd get. So I'd just full on give it my everything and try and make that gap work.
And into Sandovo down the inside. Nicely done. Luke's back into the race lead, and that was a nice move into Sandovo. Boss wanted having a think of a look back though, but that's just not going to work into Massenet, and he has to settle in behind. But to be fair to Boss Wanted, he's had a good opening stint on those mediums, and when he goes on to softs later on, we'll see how he does. But he's this stint could put him into play later on.
And Simon is coming up very closely to Cohen. Obviously, Cohen made it fairly easy for his teammate to go past as he just let him go through on the main straight, but he's not going to do the same with Thymony, as Thymony is still very close though, and he's got the slipstream, he's got a low amount of VRS, he might still try and go down the inside here. No, he doesn't. He taps!
He's in the back of Cohen!
Ooh. Cohen with a great save there. That was some good car control from that Alfa Romeo. Oh, and look at Fairhan and John in the background, and Fairhan
they're battling away.
Oh, side by side, that's not going to end up well if they're going side by side into the back, but nope. John thinks better of it. Smart thinking there from the Red Bull driver. Otherwise, that would have ended in absolute tears, I reckon. And
Boss wants to pits.
And let's look at Thymon. Is he close enough to make a move yet? No, he isn't. And Cole probably isn't a part with Luke, I reckon. The two teammates might be. And that is going to come to an end. Maybe no. He spins around. And Thymon has reset to track, which is not legal, but Maxwell goes back past, and that has put an end to his charge back to the front of the grid. For now, he still shouldn't give up. There's still 20 laps remaining in this race, and anything can happen, but still, that is a big hit to his expectations of regaining that lead, and obviously the 10-second time penalty can be crucial at the end, and right now he might fall out of that window because of Maxwell then.
Yeah, he's done some great moves so far, and it was a good attempt, to be fair. I definitely can't fault his commitments, but unfortunately he probably just wasn't far enough alongside the Alfa Romeo to make it work, and thankfully at least he managed to avoid picking up any damage, but he did reset to track, but he's now right behind Max again, which of course is where he was before as Cohen pits. How will Fireman be feeling now? He'll have basically had that collision with Cohen, and Cohen was pitting at the end of a lap anyway, and Cohen goes on to softs. That's a brave move, as Just Call Me Bread has had a spin at the Nouvelle chicane and rejoins, so he drops a few. I think he lost 2 places to Loic and to Kryptonite there.
I gotta say, concerning that crash, I absolutely can't blame Thymon for going for that move, because I would have went for it as well. But I think you can't blame Cohen for that either, because he just went in a bit too deep. It's just so difficult to overtake, and if you just slightly misjudge it, exactly that's what's going to happen. You spin around and you crash. He's lucky to not get any full wing damage from that crash, as Just Call Me Bread retires in the pits. And yeah, I would have went for that move absolutely as a racer. I can understand that, but he can't blame Cohen for that. It was, yeah, I'd say it was a racing incident. But if there was one driver to blame, it was himself, and absolutely not Cohen in that situation. But yeah, no. I can definitely understand that Thyman tries to make the moves as soon as he can, but he can't get impatient. And now they're yellow flags, so the overtaking might not work out here, and he's a bit too far away as he was struggling out of the last corner with his traction, and he's too far away to make a move just yet.
Someone asking about doesn't the soft last 18 laps, wondering as to why Furhan has gone on to hards. From what I know anyway, it's around 13 laps of a soft tyre, and Cohen, for instance, has got onto the soft tyre. I don't know about you, that's going to be really tough getting us to the end, potentially, for Cohen.
That's a big stretch. And those tyres are going to be dead at the end. And, yeah, I'm not sure if he'll actually make it. Has to do a lot of tyre conserving there. From my experience, softs are absolutely dead after like 10 laps.
There's no doubt about it in my mind. Feynman is the quickest driver here tonight, but he's himself, unfortunately, at all the wrong places. He's always seems to be stuck behind somebody, and of course now he's back behind Max again. And it all comes back to the race start. You mentioned it at the end of qualifying. If Feynman got a good start, he could potentially run away with this race, and I absolutely agree with you. If he'd have stayed into P1, into turn 1 at the start, I think he would have run away with it, but ever since that start's gone wrong, it's just put him in this awkward position. And even now, he's still trying to recover for that start.
Yeah, as he hits the inside wall, and yeah, obviously that dirty air plays a factor as well. When you're stuck behind another car, you've got understeer, you've got oversteer. The car's just not handling that nicely compared to the clean air he would have had if he would have remained in the lead then. But yeah, that poor start he had just put him in that miserable position he's in right now, just being the quickest driver but not really being able to pass anyone, and that's so frustrating. But he just needs to keep his head cool, and currently Max is our race winner at the minute, but remember that Thyman could still win the race, and I think he just got front wing damage. Yes, he has.
Yeah, the exit to back, he hit the wall, and it's just, it must be so frustrating being stuck behind drivers, but he's obviously just lost focus briefly and has gone into the wall, and he'll have to pit. The only plus side, I suppose, now is he can go on to softs to the end, but no, he's actually gone on to a set. Oh, he is onto a set of softs. For some reason my screen glitched there. But yeah, where's that going to put him out? I mean, knowing his luck, I'm just looking at the map, he may come out where this group of cars is trapped behind Super Mario as what's yellow flag in sector 2. I think that's a Ferrari.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
And yeah, oh, P7, that feels familiar to me.
Oh, I tell you what, for Feynman, these come out, I was mentioning that sort of group of cars, these come out just in front of them. That's absolutely critical, and for a little bit of time at least, although knowing his pace, probably only a lap or two, he's got a bit of clear air finally.
I'll take a look at the penalties right now, and actually Thyman has already got 6 seconds and Max has got 6 as well, so Luke is going around with 1 penalty so far, and that would actually make him the race winner at the minute, and that is a big cut from Thyman there as he operates himself. And at the minute, it's actually Luke winning this race.
It is, absolutely, yeah. Luke, despite the penalty he's got to be added onto his race time and the 3 seconds he's got in this race, is doing enough because Max has 6 seconds. It's very close, though, just half a second in it at the moment. And there may be a couple of drivers to look out for, Jan and Boss Wanted. Boss Wanted is on hards, so he'll have no trouble getting to the end. And Jan's on fresher mediums, which could prove to be crucial as... Well, I mean, you mentioned early on the lap, he probably got a warning for some...
look at Thyman then down the inside again. This time it works. And this time it was very clean, and Gabri didn't really fight it all too much. And that was a brilliant move by Thyman, committed and simply down the inside without any contact, left the room on the outside and got the position.
Yeah, nicely done from Feynman. He really has been the king of overtaking here tonight. It could so have easily been the case he wouldn't have had any overtaking to do, but nevertheless he finds himself back into P6 and he's got probably about a lap in clear air before he comes up to Boyrod.
Yeah, sounds about
who's
right.
on incredibly old hards. So if Feynman's lucky, Boyrod might pit very soon.
I think Boyrod is trying to go to the end. I mean, the hards go, like you mentioned, probably 2 Monaco races long. They're just absolutely
of course,
slow.
yeah, Oh, yeah, of course, he didn't actually start on those, did he? He pitted very early on. He was actually one of the ones who I think pitted right at the start. So, yeah, actually not too bad for Boyrod. But look at Feynman's lap time. Surely Boyrod's going to have no defence to that once Feynman gets close.
Tell you what, that fastest lap time was quicker than some people's time trial times on 10.2. Yeah, that probably would have been pole position in some of the divisions of PSGL. So that's some incredible pace he's showing right now, and not only right now but through the entirety of this Monaco weekend here. And I think a podium is definitely still within his grasp, I'd say. And there he goes. Oh, that's a tight squeeze, and that was close. That was risky, but Boyrod gave him the room he needed. And oh my, he's on a mission today. Feynman really is on a mission, and it's impressive to see someone cutting through the field so easily around those streets. And sometimes it actually feels like there's absolutely no risk when he makes that move. He just makes it look so easy.
You've got to have so much confidence in who you're racing against to make that work, but fair play to him. He doesn't want to waste any time as being caught behind somebody, because you could see the difference in the traction that Feynman had that enabled him to be so close to begin with.
And Cohen, sorry to interrupt you, but Cohen and Gabriel are going for it really close in between those two. Cohen is basically pushing Gabriel around the circuit at the minute on obviously 6th lap of Softstone. Those actually won't be feeling all too amazing, if I'm honest, but they'll still be quicker than those 25
lap or mediums, yeah.
I mean, that's a big difference, and you can see how he's pushing Gabriel around. And has he actually got slack from wing damage? I think he has. Yes, he has.
I mean,
Cohen is missing his front right end brake, but so is Gabriel, so it's equal chances.
Well, surely Gabriel's going to be in the pits again. There's no way those mediums are going to the end. As Cohen looks down the inside to bat, but again thinks better of it.
Don't try that. That's going to end in tears, mate. Just be a bit more patient. It was so much quicker, you could tell, and that it's only a matter of time till he gets past. If he doesn't make a mistake and he taps the rear wing of Gabriel, and that probably make the move even easier for him now. And he's got the outside line for Sander Vargas. They're going to go side by side. Big contact. Is one of the cars going to end up in the wall? No, none of them is going to end up in the wall so far, at least. And they're still going for it. Up the hill they go. But now Cohen's got the move done. And there was a lot of contact. But has he actually? Oh, that was some dodgy racing. But yeah, it's still nothing that the stewards need to take a look on, I think. I think it was all still within the limits.
I think Cohen might have a bit more front wing damage after that, because I think he made contact with the wall a few times, and even through Massenet, Gabriel was looking at coming back at him, and it just wasn't going to work, I'm afraid. I think it got to that point in the move where Gabriel was just better to back off and almost accepted being overtaken there. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the pits at the end of his lap. Is the flag in sector 3?
That is Nino, I think. Yeah, Nino's retired. Look at that 4-car frame for P10 as well. And Kryptonite sitting in that with no pen so far, and he's just thinking, lad, just do whatever you want. I'm just gonna stay here, sit here for a little bit. I don't have any pens. I'm gonna pick up that point in the end anyway. So he just sits there comfortably in P12, and he absolutely knows he's gonna get that point if he doesn't get any more pens.
Speaking of the penalty situation, as Loic is looking for it Furhan, this is going to be very tight to Massenet. Loic's going to go around the outside. If he pulls this off, that is an incredible overtake. Oh, but Furhan's gone into the wall and lost his front wing. That was nothing to do with Loic. Furhan, I think, just went off his own accord there, maybe slightly stunned by what he'd seen from Loic.
My goodness, that was one of the best overtakes I've seen all season in F4. That was absolutely brilliant, just cleanly around the outside, not even a single bit of contact, and he just swoops around the outside and even has got the move done before the next corner. That was brilliant. That was so smooth.
That was absolutely sensational. That's definitely one of the best moves I've seen in a long, long time. Fair play to Loic, and like I said, I think it stunned Furhan so much he went into the wall.
Could be.
As Gabri goes past Cohen, because Cohen is in the pit, so we mentioned he might have some more damage, and obviously he's decided it's too much damage to continue, and he's coming to the pits again, but that's going to drop him outside the points position, so what could have been a lot better for Cohen just seems to be going a little bit wrong.
Quite far outside the point as well. It's going to be in P13, quite a while back behind P12 even, around 8 seconds, and that makes a total of like 12 seconds till P11, and that is quite a task for those remaining 9 laps of this racing. But I gotta say,
I've just got to mention,
Luke is absolutely controlling this race, even though he's got a 10-second penalty. That is brilliant.
Well, you say he's controlling the race, but I've just noticed something. Jan has now, as it stands, got ahead of Max, and with Luke's what would be 13 seconds added on, Jan potentially here, with a bit fresher mediums, Jan might not know this, but he could still win this race.
Yeah, I don't know if Jan's aware of Luke's penalty. He might not be.
But he needs to be under 13 seconds at the moment behind Luke, and it's hovering around 13 and a half. This is going to be super close. He looks like he's got second wrestled for Max, barring any additional penalties, but this could be a turn up for the books. Jan could still win this race, and, well, I think we need to go on board with Feynman, because based on him so far, he will do an incredible overtake here on Boss Wanted for 4.
Yeah, by the way, shout outs to the 2 women's drivers, currently sitting in P7 and 8, and Ryan. He's having a nightmare of a race, sitting down in 16th, but I gotta give him credit for not retiring so far. He's kept fighting since his first crash, and let's look at that, and Boss Wanted doesn't make it difficult at all for Thyman. Probably knows how it's going to end up. And speaking of Ryan, he has just triggered a safety car, and that has completely vanished Luke's advantage, and that is his win, probably thrown out the window.
Well, I'm just, because someone asked about as to why Luke's got a 10-second penalty, so I'm just quickly looking that up. But yeah, Ryan has brought out the safety car, and that does no favours at all for Luke, at all. We got Gabri in the pits, who, I mean, kind of works out quite well for him.
Mediums. My goodness, that is quite impressive, not going to lie. And Cohen is going to regain that spot, I reckon. That should be a bit close. No, it won't. He gets up into 11th then. By the way, Kryptonite could move up quite a lot of places now. He's got not a single pen.
Well, I'll tell you one driver who's in a decent spot.
And Lucas just got a 5-second penalty because he sped into the pit lane. And yep, now that debate is completely settled, I reckon.
Max pits. What's Jan doing? Jan stays out. So he will become the, well, net race leader, but also with no penalties. He's in a good spot as well. Feynman pits.
Would he actually become the proper race leader now?
Oh, it's going to be super close. He's just got it, yeah.
Oh, and that was crucial. That was crucial because Luke is on fresh softs. Oh, that was nice. So crucial from Jan, and that was pretty brilliantly handled.
Another driver who's in a decent spot with this is Boyrod, because he's got a nice window to pit for softs and not lose any places, potentially. And he's another one who's got no penalties. So, again, that's another driver who this works out really nicely for. I mean, in terms of at the moment, you're looking at 8 seconds for Luke, technically 18. Max has got 6, Feynman's got 9, Oswanted's got 3. This order's really going to mix up come the end, and another driver who's in a decent spot is Kryptonite. Basically, if you haven't got penalties, right now, this safety car is a dream for you.
Yeah, but I gotta say, I feel very sorry for Luke. That safety car has just destroyed his entire race, because I think he could have won it in the end if he wouldn't have gotten another pen. But then the safety car came out, he pitted, then just that's just, how do you say it? The tip of the iceberg?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the tip of the iceberg then. Just getting that 5-second speeding penalty, which then completely sends him out of the competition for the race win. And then also loses the lead to Jan. Jan basically
Honestly,
came out of nowhere, not gonna lie. I didn't have him on my radar at all, and suddenly he's in the lead, no pens, and he's probably gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the penalties for the guys behind him, even if they get past him, sure, they're not going to be able to build up that kind of a lead. So as long as Jan just keeps it together now, he's looking in a really good position here. And I have to say, if Luke didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. I mean, everything that went on, and then he sees Jan just in front of him when he comes out of the pits. I mean, if I was him right now, I'd be so frustrated. It's everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. And ironically, I suppose, it's his championship rival who brought out the safety car.
Yeah, that is just very, very unfortunate for him today. But yeah, sometimes that's just how it is as a racing driver. There are just some things that you can't change, and that crash from Ryan just completely ruined it. As Ryan locked up coming into Sandevolt and put the car in the wall. Reminded me of Marcus Ericsson actually, but Marcus Ericsson crashed under the safety car, so that was something completely different.
Yeah, it was a penalty Luke got added from last week. There was a major crash with Jan and Nino, which gave them both damage, so he got a 10-second penalty to be added on to this race for that. And it's just, it really isn't a track where you want the penalty. As safety cars are in this lap, everyone's caught up to it, the exception of Kush, who was a lap down and basically out of contention. So even the likes of Gabri and Simply down in 12th and 13th, just simply due to the fact they don't have penalties, they also could be in contention for points here.
I gotta say, I never actually expected Jan to be fighting up there today for the race win, and his heart must be beating so quickly right now. And I think he's gone. Yes, he has gone, and he's lost the rear end out of the last corner for good measure. And that looked like a big snap of oversteer there from Max. But it looks like it's all right in the background. Oh, can we see some overtakes in there? Yes, McCrew has gone past Cohen, it looks like, and Cohen has lost the spot then.
Oh, and 40-year-old's picked up a penalty. As Luke looks for a way past Jan, he's all over the back of the Red Bull on this restart. He's looking for a move into Mirabeau. There's a bit of contact between them, but he gets it slowed down just, and Luke has to steer behind. He's so
look
impatient.
at Max and Diamond. Diamond is trying to go around the outside through Lowe's app, and that's not going to work. Boss Wanted is going around the outside of Diamond now, and he's going to take that spot away from him probably, but now he's got the inside line. Oh, and that was quite dodgy, not going to lie, but they're still side by side, but now it looks like Diamond has successfully defended his position against the Racing Point, and that was quite some action going on.
Yeah, and still Luke over the back of Jan. Feynman hit the wall, it looks like, in the second part of Portier in his attempts to keep Boss Wanted behind. If he's got away without damage, which I think he has, he's a bit of a lucky boy on that one, because it could have easily gone very wrong. Voirod picked up a penalty which could be absolutely pivotal for him come the end of a race, but Luke surely here is going to make a move down into Sandevolt on Jan. Yes, he is. Down the inside, is he going to be able to make it stick? Yes, he is.
Oh, and Luke's got front wing damage, hasn't he? Yes, he's got major front wing damage. Look at that,
has indeed.
His entire front right end plate is missing.
So this is why they're all suddenly bunched up in these top four positions. Feynman looking down the inside of Max into Mirabeau, and he makes it stick this time. Feynman just cannot be stopped with the overtaking today. This is a sensational display of overtaking. He just seems to find any sort of move and just make it stick. Fantastic stuff, and Jan could be next on his hit list right here.
Such an awkward corner to overtake or the straight, but he goes down the inside into the Newell chicane and he gets the move done up in just a second. That was pretty clean then from him. And Yeah, on track it's probably going to be, or in game it might be Luke winning the race, but remember he's got that 10-second time penalty, and now Thyman has got a chance of maybe even winning this race, but remember he's got 9 seconds of penalties, and Jan obviously knows that, so Jan just needs to stay within 9 seconds of Thyman, and obviously 18 seconds of Luke, but that shouldn't be the issue, and then he will be the race winner.
Max is over the back of Jan for P3. So is Max going to be able to make another place up here?
Quite a lot.
Oh! Max is gone!
I have no idea what just happened. There was so much lag for me.
Yeah, I had that as well. It looks like a lot of lag on my screen. But Max is, net result of it is Max has lost 3 spots.
That's very unfortunate for Max, but let's take a look at. I reckon Thyman actually wants that move on track as well, even though he probably knows that Lucas got that penalty, or maybe he doesn't, and he'll go for a risky move and then spin out, and everything is suddenly changed again. But yeah, right now it looks like Jan is in the net race lead.
Well, the other thing Thyman might be thinking as well is if I can get away from Luke, I can build up as much time as possible to negate the penalties I've got. So
he's already
it is crucial for Thyman to get through. Yeah, so I mean he's got 9 seconds of penalties to go on to his race time
Jan
afterwards.
Just lost another spot. And
Boss wanted up to third.
Jan is struggling, and look at Boyrod. Boyrod is trying to pass Jan as well, but Jan, that could be critical now for him. He can't lose too much now. He's 5 seconds behind, and there goes Boyrod now down the inside, and he's losing another spot. Obviously he has got no pens, but still he shouldn't let himself down too much. He shouldn't be too confident. Now in 6 seconds to the race leader, who is about 3 tenths ahead of second place Thyman.
Yeah, Luke defending from Thyman here is the one saving grace Jan might have. But it's going to be nip and tuck here. Thyman, if he can make this overtake stick soon, he could have a chance here at stealing this. It's going to be super close. It's so difficult to work out because everyone in the top 5 has a different amount of penalties.
It's a very unique situation, I'd call it, but currently Jan has got a gap of 6.6. If he just stays within 9 seconds of Luke, he's absolutely safe, but if he doesn't, then he needs to keep that 9 seconds to Thyman in the end, but that's going to be so difficult for him because he's absolutely not got the pace.
Thyman's lost his front wing. Thyman's lost part of his front wing. He tried to move on Luke at Massenet, and he went into the wall, and he has lost part of his front wing, and that could just save Jan.
I think that was actually Thyman's fault, because I think he put his nose somewhere he shouldn't have put it, and yeah, you can see his understeer, and he's losing time now.
That could just be the moment. We've still got things going off, but Boyrod's one to look out for. He's only got 3 seconds worth of penalties, and he could be about to try and move on Boss Wanted down at the Nouvelle Chicane. He's going for it down the inside. Is he going to make it stick? Yes, he is. Lovely move from Boyrod, and he's now up to provisionally 3rd. And where's he going to end up in all of this?
Oh my goodness, this is quite exciting. And might Boyrod actually get that gap to Jan? He's pushing all the way. He's slightly touched the wall on the outside. Let's take a look at Luke, who's going to cross the line first on track, but with penalties he's absolutely going to drop down. Thyman takes second then on track, but he's going to drop down. Boyrod comes across the line. He's the provisional winner for the moment, but here comes Jan
gets it.
And he takes the win by just 2.5 tenths of a second. And at the end of 39 laps around the most narrow track on the entire F1 calendar, he wins by 2.5 tenths on penalties.
Just wow. Boyrod nearly got it with that superb move on he did in the last lap on Boss Wanted. Nearly proved to be enough, but Jan, who had no pace on the mediums right at the end, he held on just onto it in the end. Luke will drop down to 6th, which all in all is actually not too bad considering the penalties he had.
That is quite an eventful race, I'd call it. Eventful, that's the least to put it. And I gotta say, for Monaco standards, that was a lot of overtaking going on there, and I really enjoyed this race.
That was absolutely brilliant to watch. And I have to say, Feynman gets the final spot on the podium, and he's probably the one to thank for the 90% of the overtaking. Did some sensational moves. A couple that didn't work out too well. Certainly, the last move I thought was a little bit desperate, but a lot of them were super committed and super brilliant. But yeah, well done to Jan. He was losing positions left, right, and centre on that restart, but he just kept it together. I think the important thing for Jan was he didn't fight any of those positions too hard. I think he knew the position he was in, and just ultimately knew if he fought the positions more, he'd lose more time. So it was super mature driving from him at the end, and he's got his reward with a probably quite unexpected Monaco win.
Yeah, I mean, not many of us would have had him on the radar for the race win today, but in the end, he's the man to take the top step ahead of Boyrod and then Luke in-game, but on penalties in the end, he's going to only take 6th, I think, but Thimon's definitely going to take that podium. We might see some post-race penalties, but I got to say, fair play to Loic for, was it Loic? No, who was that with the brilliant overtake? I think it was Loic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Loic. It was Loic on Furhan, I believe.
I won't forget that move, surely not. I might forget the driver, but I won't forget the move, because that was absolutely the move of the race, even though considering Thymon did such a good job at overtaking in general and made so many different overtakes. It's still the overtake of the race for me from Loic around the outside end. But speaking of driver of the day, I have to go with the obvious one. I have to go with Jan. I mean, no penalties. Out of nowhere, he came out and suddenly led the race with 6 laps to go. And in the end, controlled it, maybe not entirely, because in the end it was quite close. But still, he managed to win the race. And yeah, he's usually not someone we see at the front all too much, more in the midfield, and that's why he's my driver of the day today.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. There is a few other names that came to mind, but how maturely he drove in that last stint of the race, and of course to avoid picking up any penalties during the race as well. He did a sensational job, and yeah, he fully deserves driver of the day for me. A couple of shout-outs, I would say. Obviously, Feynman with his overtaking, that was just incredible to watch. And if it wasn't for his bad start, Feynman probably could have won this race by about 50 seconds. But
that is true.
But unfortunately, that start put him.
That man had. I mean, he caught 4 seconds within a single lap. That is so incredibly good. I mean, yeah, I should probably take some driving lessons from him on the F1 games. Then I might be able to win the F7 championship easily. But yeah, I really got to thank Thymon for that excitement he created, but also the other drivers, everyone who turned up, everyone who finished especially. And also Ryan for crashing actually into Sandevot, who then triggered the safety car and then made the race even more exciting than it already was. And in the end, Jan will probably thank Ryan after in the chat afterwards, because in the end, Ryan was the reason he won the race, and that was quite unexpected.
And if I could give one more driver some credit as well, not just one Red Bull of Jan, I think the other Red Bull of Loic too, not only did that incredible move at Massenet, which is up there with one of the best overtakes I've ever seen, he also came from 19th on the grid to 7th, and I think that deserves a shout too.
Yeah, I think the viewers already noticed that we fell in love with that overtake, but that was just the beauty of this sport. Moves like that, that's what we raced for in the end, and that was executed perfectly. And also quick shout out to Boyrod, who had damage on lap 3, I think, and in the end managed to climb back onto the podium, which is quite a good job, and nearly won the race.
Wow, how do we top that from Monaco? Monza, you've got a lot to live up to.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but next week when we head to Monza, if you already are talking about it, Monza usually delivers some good racing, and it's the Temple of Speed, obviously, and it's the home race for Ferrari, and hopefully we will see not maybe as much chaos, but a lot of overtaking as well. I think Monza's a good track for that, but we could see some or a lot of tactical games going on with less overtaking and more tactical ERS saving, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. But we'll have to wait and see for next week. But that was it from us today. I had a lot of fun commentating today. That was not even for Monaco standards. That was a pretty good race in general, even if that would have been on a track like I don't know, Canada or something. That would have still been a brilliant race. And I gotta say, Monaco delivered today here in F4.
And I want to leave my last words to the winner himself, Jan, who's just commented saying the last 3 laps were just heart attack after heart attack.
I can imagine that, but in the end, well done to him, well done to all the finishers in general, and especially well done to the podium finishers. I still feel kind of sorry for Luke, but that's just how it is sometimes. And that is it from us today. Thanks everyone for watching, thanks everyone for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the race as much as we did, and make sure to tune in next week once again, 7 PM UK time on Monday. And then we are heading to Italy for the Temple of Speed in Monza, and it's going to be Jake and me once again commentating for you then. And yeah, we had quite a high amount of views today, which was nice to see. I think most of the time we had more than 20 viewers, which is quite a good amount of views for F4. And I want to thank everyone who tuned in, and I want to thank you for joining me once again, Jake. I really enjoyed it once again commentating with you.
Not a problem. Races like that make it super fun to do.
Yeah, and with that being said, we'll hopefully see you guys next week. And until then, goodbye and take care.